As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. Forever American is what I am.
Hello, hello, hello. How you guys doing tonight? Welcome to Real News Live. Hi, Linda. Hi, Matt. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Richard. Hi, Tia. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Nana. Hi, Minnie. How you guys doing tonight? As you guys are joining us, please hit that like button and share the stream out there so people can know we're live. We're going to get into talking about January 6th because this is ridiculous. We know what happened January 6th. But now the footage is coming out from the Capitol, and it shows exactly what we thought, exactly what we seen live on January 6th. Cops escorting people through the building, and even the QAnon shaman on the Senate floor. Cops escorted him. He's serving 4 years in prison. Why? This is utterly ridiculous as we're looking at it. This surveillance footage from January 6th shows that at least 2 Capitol police officers escorting him. I mean, supposedly he was the symbol of the riot, but he was being escorted by police everywhere he went. How is this possible? I mean, through the halls and the very door into the U.S. Senate. Yeah, Tucker Carlson has done a great job of releasing the information, but we seen this live when this happened. We didn't need surveillance footage. It took them this long, though, to get the surveillance footage out to the public so that people could actually make their own opinions. Capitol Police never stopped anybody. They were helping people get through. Let's be honest. They acted as tour guides more than anything else as we watch what happened when we were watching live throughout the entire day. That day, it was crazy. And now to see it finally come to light that this is the truth. And then we see what's happening with the White House. We see what's happening there. The White House going after Tucker Carlson by name, of course, to rebuke the ratings, of course, and saying that Carlson is not credible. He's showing actual footage from security footage. You can't take security footage and make it something it's not. But the White House is joining the widespread condemnation of Fox News and Tucker Carlson, signaling out primetime ratings and misleading portrayal of the Capitol riots on January 6th. Well, how is he mislabeling it? He's showing what actually happened. This is what I don't understand, and how we got to this is, why are we to this point right now, and where do we get there? This is utterly ridiculous as we're watching this happen. Day in and day out, we know the government lies to us. I mean, one thing is another, but I mean, watching what's happening is utterly ridiculous. We know it is, because we know the truth of what happened that day. Of course, the White House, though, trying to join Republican Senate leader, or trying to attack people. Capitol Police Chief, even who was on that day, that has been laid off since, I mean, said that there was a lot more to it. I mean, we agree that Capitol Police Chief has a wide range of bipartisan lawmakers have condemned the false depiction of the unprecedented violent attack. But the thing is, the truth in the video shows something totally different. The scene that day showed something totally different. The footage we were airing live as it was happening was totally different than what they're portraying that day. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous knowing that we have to stand in the United States government that's against everything we agree with. Against everything. I mean, we watched it. We saw it that day for ourselves. It's sad. It's sad to see the White House now attacking Tucker Carlson for doing nothing more than releasing the footage that he was given by him. I mean, literally. Saying somebody's not credible because they're putting out the actual footage of what's happening. It's just ridiculous. Mitch is ridiculous. That's a whole other ordeal there. I mean, we're looking at problems with our own country. I mean, the feds are going to raise rates here again. And they know what it's going to do to the labor market. They know there's going to be job loss. And they're projecting heavy job loss. That's not a question. The federal is going to raise rates. So Jerome Powell said today before Congress that interest rates, hikes, outlooks, amid inflation are going to keep going. And they're going to have to be stronger than expected. And ultimately, levels of interest rates are likely to be higher than previously anticipated. And it's going to cause faster tightening. And hopefully, it'll curb inflation. But they know for sure it's going to cause massive job losses. I mean, that's not a question at this point. Companies can't afford to take money and just throw it out, I mean, millions of Americans could lose their jobs from this. These interest rate hikes that are important, but that's the problem. You got interest rates going way up, which means businesses have to borrow money at a more exorbitant rate, which means they have to, of course, lay off employees. I mean, Jerome Powell says it's better for the people because it's hurting the working people of this country badly, inflation is. But the inflation is here because you printed $25 trillion over the last 5 years. We went from $5 trillion in circulation to $30 trillion in circulation. That alone is going to cause inflation. And that's what we're seeing is inflation is starting to realize, people are starting to realize that there's more money in the market, and that's what's happening. It's just rolling over people now. So now, in order to save the working people in the country, we have to start getting at least 2 million of them fired to try to tame inflation and bring it back down. Now, where is the logic in this at all? If anybody sees any logic in this, please let me know, because this is ridiculous to me. To tame the inflation that we started a problem, our government has, pushing over American people. People don't even know how much money has been printed. People don't realize it. It's sad. We're seeing inflation, though, take an all-time hit to American people that are trying to make a living. And now they're going to raise rates again to, of course, make it fairer for the average citizen, supposedly. By what? Laying them off? That doesn't work. I mean, honestly, we're watching what's happening. Job market supposedly looks so great, but how can we have so many job losses? Just ridiculous. It is utterly ridiculous. And of this Nord Stream pipeline attack reports, I believe the original report. I do not believe that it was a pro-Ukraine group involved in blowing up the Nord Stream gas pipeline in the Baltic Sea last year. I believe that is just a slanderous piece of news that's been put out, stating that 5 men and a woman used a yacht hired by a Ukrainian-owned company in Poland to carry out the attack. This was not a shallow water pipeline. This was a deep water pipeline. Everybody knows it. To try to say 5 citizens rented a yacht and jumped in the water, dove down that deep, placed explosives, and then sailed away, and they blew up 3 days later. This is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. 5 men and 1 woman, supposedly. I mean, this is ridiculous. Honestly, the more we see whitewashed in the news or washed over news that's fake, written to exactly flag everybody believing what they want them to believe, supposedly without the government's knowledge, without Ukraine or any government's knowledge, these 5 people acted alone in January. It's ridiculous. Biden said he was going to do it. Literally. Yeah, did it during a war game. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. Supposedly it was only 2 divers and 2 diver assistants and a doctor and a captain. That was it. That's all they needed. Supposedly. It's ridiculous. The whole question of what's happened and what's been happening is ridiculous. And supposedly they transported the explosive devices in January. Remember, they put these devices in place in January. of that year before they went off in September, according to this research. So they were sitting there. They put bombs underwater for 9 months. That's what they want people to believe. These explosives were placed underwater for 9 months. It is ridiculous watching everything that's happened. Hi, Billy. How you doing tonight? And hi, everybody else I didn't say hi. Of course, in China, ominous tones coming from China saying, warning of conflict, and yes, unless we change our course, saying conflict and confrontation. If it fails to change course in relations with Beijing and striking a combative tone on conflicts over Taiwan, COVID-19, and Russian invasion of Ukraine. So they're not just facing one thing right now. China's threatening war for multiple things. Direct confrontation. I mean, the wolf warrior rhetoric that he was pushing out, saying that the Western governments led by the United States were trying to encircle and suppress China. We are. Yeah, Russia's hitting hard right now. We know. Russia's going to pummel Ukraine. It's not a question. They have to before the pilots and planes we are sending them, even though we're not sending them F-16s. We're training pilots on F-16s right now. Here in the United States, Ukrainian pilots are being trained to fly F-16s. But we are not going to provide F-16s to Ukraine. Believe it, because that's what the government says. We are not going to supply them. But we are training them how to fly them and use them. But we're not going to give them to them. I mean, this is ridiculous. It's like saying, "Oh, I have $1. It's only worth 50 cents though. Here." What kind of game is it? It's a game, literally. The United States says one thing, does another. We see China now way pissed off. We see what's happening in Russia. We see what's happening with Iran. We see what's happening with everywhere else in the world. Yeah, Poland's ready to give planes to Ukraine. Oh, and we're going to sell Abrams tanks to Poland. And we're going to sell them to Poland and somebody else now? Abrams tanks? I don't know, Billy. I don't know. We all seen what happened on January 6th. We all seen what happened. And going back to that day, I mean, I could go back through footage of that day and show you guys. I mean, cops were letting people in, not just the shaman, but lots of people. I mean, it's ridiculous. The United States right now is pushing on all these countries to send them gold. We don't have gold. Teresa? That's another thing. America's broken. We don't even know it yet. But if the United States doesn't hit the brakes, it continues to speed down the wrong path. No amount of guardrails can prevent the derailment that is surely will be a conflict and confrontation. I mean, it's completely recklessness. It's a gamble with American lives. Even humanity's future at this. I wish we had the footage. I wish we had the footage from the security cameras. I mean, we have footage of everything else that happened that day. All on the ground, but security footage is ridiculous. Yeah, we need full disclosure. That should be made publicly available. Not just available to Fox News, but publicly available. And yeah, Turkey will sell them to Ukraine. Turkey's going to buy them and give them to Ukraine. It's all just a push around. The Abrams tanks, the planes. Poland's going to be buying them. And then Poland's going to give them to Ukraine or sell them to Ukraine with money, the $10 billion we're giving them through this year for economics. They'll take that $10 billion and buy the planes and the tanks off of Poland, which then mean we didn't supply the tanks to them. They bought the tanks themselves. That's what we're trying to say. This is just like what China's saying. China's saying enough is enough. It's playing a game, this backwards game that we have. It is literally a backwards game. I mean, we're pushing for war with two countries that we cannot face a war against right now. We can't. We don't have the munitions. We don't have the troops. We don't have anything. Yeah, it's a big scheme. One big penny scheme. Yeah. It's a pyramid scheme. That's what it is. I mean, now we got Taiwan. And this issue with Taiwan, we know what's going to happen. Yeah, we need full disclosure of everything. We need full disclosure of why they're filling Mount Cheyenne and all these other nuclear strategic bases or strongholds with supplies. Why there are massive amounts of supplies going into them right now. And they know they're pushing tensions. I mean, U.S. officials accusing China of considering providing weapons to Moscow. We can't accuse somebody for considering to provide something. Let's be honest. If China does supply weapons to Moscow, then they supply weapons. Then we say something. We can't say that they're considering because we don't even know if that's true. And efforts for peace talks from China was actually trying to make peace talks with Ukraine and Russia. You know who blew that up? We did. We decided that should not be happening. We stepped in the middle. And we know right now, Russia, I mean, even U.S. intelligence chiefs are warning that Putin is expanding his nuclear weapon arsenal as Ukraine's war drags on. I mean, and the warning comes from nation's top spy masters. I mean, we know what's happening. They already boast the largest nuclear arsenal and previously rattled the nuclear saber on the heels of Ukrainian advance in the battlefield. And Putin is further upgrading the Kremlin's arsenal of long-range nuclear-capable missiles. It's not a question. We know what's happening. The warning's coming in from all sides of the wire now. It's crazy. Release the Kraken. That's what's happening. Yeah, mainstream media is dangerous. Mainstream media is so dangerous because they want to say things to make people think everything is okay. Everything's okay. You know, and there's another thing that's coming through, and I don't know if you guys know, there's a lot of stuff being talked about back in the background of government right now. Like there's going to be another pandemic of some sort soon. And what they can do to force American public, instead of having to sit there and go piece by piece like they did last time with COVID, but to force American public like China did. Our government is working on situations to push us down as quick as they can for anything. I mean, and not only that, American public is crazy. If you're on TikTok, if China decides to make a move, I guarantee they will know every single thing you're doing and when you're doing it. Let's be honest. Yeah, smart cities. We already have smart cities in the US. We don't need a car. You don't need to leave the little suburb that you live in. You work there, you eat there, you live everything there. And you're a smart city. I mean, the US dollar is falling. AI is taking over. Now, China and Russia and India and some other countries are all working with a new currency system. It's besides the IMF, International Monetary Fund. Um, they actually have their own monetary fund now that they're working through, their own currency exchange. So if they eliminate us from joining or needing to trade in the US dollar, which that's what most countries trade in now, but they eliminate trade with us, what are we going to do? US dollar only has a backbone because the oil money at first. Now it's lost the oil back as the oil currency. So what's next? What is next? What's going to happen next to us? We overprinted money. We way overspent. Just watching everything happen piece by piece. It's happening faster than we thought. Yeah, bird flu. Yeah, and did you hear it? Yeah, they're gonna try to vaccinate chickens against from the bird flu. So what are they gonna vaccinate chickens with? Something that sterilizes them, where they can't produce eggs? What's it gonna be? We're gonna go and vaccinate chickens from the bird flu, or maybe it'll be something that doesn't harm chicken at all, or maybe it'll just harm people that eat the chicken. You never know. You never know because this is becoming more and more ridiculous as we watch it on its face. Government's investigating Tesla over steering wheels coming off. Well, first of all, the steering wheels in Teslas weren't going to be made to come off in the long run because steering wheels weren't going to be needed. So that's a whole other question. And they're not falling off technically, but it's sad. Government's more worried about the shit that it doesn't need to be worried about instead of the bigger problems. I mean, Zelensky's trying to get more and more money from us every time we turn around. God bless you guys. I mean, God bless all of you. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. Definitely appreciate it. It's crazy out there. It's only going to get crazier as we go forward. I mean, yeah, I wouldn't eat anything that cooks weird, that's for sure. Not right now. Couldn't get me doing that. But God bless you guys. If you guys are able to donate, please do. If you can't, we understand. Greatly appreciative of you guys. Be safe, be strong, and be prepared because you got to get that network with your neighborhood started. Those are going to be the most important people in your group or your settings. If something happens, is going to be your neighbors. God bless you. Have a great night, and we will see you Friday.